Welcome back to another edition of the Gabagools Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff. This is episode 72. With me today, as always, Dan. How we feeling?
Just getting the pillows situated here behind me. We're feeling
Yep.
good. We're feeling, a little. I don't know what the right word is here on this Monday after the ALDS wrapped up. Bit of a heartbreaker. We'll get into that in a little bit, but other than that, we're doing all right. The weather, as we like to start off with, it's come back down a little bit, right? It's a little bit cooler out there. No sun today. I would like some sun, but cool breeze out there, right? Yeah, I had the sliding door open for a little bit. I got a little chilly. I like it cold. I had to close the sliding door today. I don't know about you, but a
Oh
little
yeah.
cold out there.
Oh yeah. I love it. We had our windows open,
Yeah,
waking up and it's a nice crisp morning and then
yeah.
going to let the dog out and it's cold out. It's perfect. This is my favorite weather. I'm big into like the spooky season weather, as I call it.
The sweater weather.
Sweater weather's another one. It's a good one. Apple orchard season or whatever. The problem with it now, and this is just me, is like you try to do that in September because September used to be generally a cooler month before all of a sudden, global warming or whatever we want to call it, but apparently that's not a thing. It's hot. It's hot in September. We had what, 80s and 90s up until pretty much October. So, I mean, even early October was still pretty warm, but we finally hit the cooler weather. I'm happy about it.
I think so. I think we're finally into that. I think summer's over for all you summer people out there. And I'm a summer guy too. Let's just go ahead and get that out there. But I will say this, I'm also a fall guy. All right.
Oh yeah,
Big fall weather guy. We wish fall was probably about the length of summer for us. If we had
I
that,
wish.
it would be great. Fall for us is it feels like just a couple of weeks, maybe a month if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Then it goes from like being like light sweatshirt, jean weather to then you gotta bundle up, get the jackets and the heavy winter hats on. Got to get the mittens out. Got to do the scarf. I don't know if you're a scarf guy.
Yeah, I appreciate a good scarf. I think scarves are underrated, actually. Who
You
doesn't like to keep a nice
appreciate
warm neck?
you appreciate a good scarf, huh? Who are you?
I don't know. I don't know who wears scarves. Maybe a poet, but I'm definitely not a poet.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We know.
See, this would be the perfect, like, if we had a good tech guy or a graphic guy, just putting like a nice scarf, like me, just cuddle up with like a scarf. Oh, also one thing too. And do you drink coffee?
I do. I do.
You drink it with one hand, right? You're not one of those guys that cuddles up and drinks it with two hands.
My goodness, that's just
No.
a bad look for any man who does that.
Yeah. I mean, some men can do it. We don't hate on it, but I mean, I don't like when people, even anyone who drinks it with two hands, it's an uncomfortable feeling. It's like, you're sitting there just like, I don't know. And slurping too. I hate when people like slurp their
First
coffee
of
or,
all, first of all, we can't be slurping any drinks over probably about 3 or 4 years old. Second of all, the coffee. I'm assuming this is a hot pot of coffee. Two bare hands on a hot jug of coffee. I don't know where these people were born. I don't know if they were born in the ashes or if they were born from molten lava. But I myself, I'm not putting two hands. I use the little thing on the side, the little thing, kind of hold it like that. You have to, right? You put it in your mug. You brew out a nice hot pot of coffee. I mean, my goodness, good luck.
yeah. I'm a big iced coffee guy, but do you drink it black or are you a cream and sugar guy?
I gotta put a little cream and sugar in there. I don't put too much in there. I don't like it too sweet by any means. I've tried the black coffee. Every now and then I could do a couple sips. A full cup of black coffee, I would have to be so in the mood to just say, let me just down this, pardon my French, let me down this fucker real quick. I don't know though. Black coffee is just not, I need a little something in there. I need a little, I'm a
You,
sweet guy, I'm a sweetie.
yeah.
I'm a sweetie pie.
No, I'm a black coffee guy. Like I like my coffee kind of punching me in my face. The stronger, the better, personally. I've been drinking black coffee probably. So it started initially when I was in college because I ran out of creamer. And I just
There it is.
and then just had to just drink it black, and I'm like, okay, so this isn't so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but now and then I've worked with I worked at a hospital and whatnot before. So going back, I worked with a lot of cops. They drink their coffee black typically. So it was like one of those things where, you just get used to drinking it black. So I was like, yeah. It's a lot easier. You don't have to worry about cream. You just grab your cup and go. But yeah, preferred iced coffee year round. It could be like -10 out. I'll still,
Really?
oh yeah, no, it doesn't bother me whatsoever.
See, most people
Because
would
I,
say, "Give me an iced coffee when it's 90 degrees outside."
yeah, no, that iced coffee year round. Give me my stand on that one. But I know there's quite a few other people like that that'll do just a straight up black coffee and have it iced. But sometimes I'll even do like a double espresso shot in there, and they call it a double black eye.
Okay. All right. I like that. I've never heard that before. I'm an espresso guy too. I like throwing some espresso in there. I like to
Oh,
pick me up, but the
yeah.
black, I just like I need a good maybe I need like a better bean that's got more flavor in it.
It
I don't
could
know,
be.
but
It could be the flavor. Do you do a Keurig or are you a pot guy?
we got a coffee pot. So
Yeah, I like the coffee pot too. Don't get me
yeah.
wrong; it's probably better for you, not all the added plastics from the Keurig. Anyway, wrapping up the coffee segment here, we'll get back on to sports. Big weekend in sports. We're gonna run through quick hitters real quick with USC beating Michigan. This is a big statement win for Lincoln Riley and the Trojans. Needed to go. It was a home game. The crowd was rocking, which was good. And it was kind of a put up or shut up type of game for USC. They came off of that Illinois loss that most of the defense had food poisoning apparently, so that was a big storyline that came out of that too. But you needed to come out, you needed to win this game. They looked like the Trojans of old that you were used to seeing, that high-powered offense that just beat the shit out of somebody, and they sure as hell did. Before in the past the defense was terrible. This year we have a pretty good defensive line. The one weak spot is the pass. The pass or the DBs. DBs are pretty bad. Our safety Bishop, his last name's Bishop or first name's Bishop. He's really good. I think he's got like 3 or 4 interceptions on the season. It's pretty solid for a college safety. So he's making his resume to get drafted at some point. But big win against Michigan, 31-13. So beat, and they were ranked number 15. So that got us back into the rankings.
Now, real quick, the new college playoff system, you get 12 teams.
Yeah, 12 teams are in.
Okay, so we got and how many? I know the college season starts a week or 2 weeks before the NFL season. So where are we at with the college season?
I think they're entering either week 7 or so. I can get you that real quick, but we're at a good point in the season where it's kind of these games are meaningful, especially since USC has that one loss that is going to
Yeah,
come back, not to haunt them, but they have to pretty much win out or have like big statement wins, kind of like they did this weekend to make sure that they can get into that picture. But this weekend we have Notre Dame, and then 5 games after that. This is kind of the gauntlet, I would call it, of the season. Notre Dame, they have 2 losses, but let's not take away. As much as I love to troll Notre Dame, they played a good Texas A&M team. They took them to the wire. Texas A&M's ranked 4, I believe.
mm,
So you can't, they're no slouches. And then you also have they lost to Miami, who's ranked number 2. So this Notre Dame team isn't like a Notre Dame team that lost to NIU like last year. They are a very good team. They're sound, well coached by Marcus Freeman. So it's gonna be a good game. Always, whenever USC can go into Notre Dame, we'll see what team comes out. In years past, it hasn't been great. We'll see though.
sounds like a must-win for both of you guys, right? I mean, you've
It is
mentioned
for
it.
the playoff picture.
Yeah,
Yeah,
college football. You lose one game, you're already kind of teetering on not making it. I know you got the 12 teams now. You're going to see teams with 2 losses make it. For Notre Dame, you're already there, right? So they probably got to win everything and hope that maybe they can get in. I don't know if they're even in the picture, but
yeah.
USC. I mean, team like USC that's just jumped back in the top 15. You got 1 loss already. Where is this game?
So this one's going to be at Notre Dame, and
Okay.
USC's ranked 21, I believe, going into they're ranked 20 to face
Okay.
number 13 Notre Dame. So ranked matchup. It's gonna be tough, and this is a resume builder for both teams. USC is one shot to get in. They lucked out. Both Oregon and Penn State lost. Penn State fired their head coach after 3 straight losses, so they're kind of out of the picture. That was a
Wow.
big who do we got here out of the Big Ten? Indiana, they took out Oregon this weekend.
Wait, real quick with Penn State. Do they still have that head coach over there, the bald guy?
Franklin, no, they just fired him literally this weekend.
Really?
Yeah, guy can't win. I think we mentioned it like during the playoffs last year that he can't win a playoff game or a big game. Can't win them. So he got fired. He's finally gone. So we'll see where he ends up. It was like a 45. I've seen two numbers. It was either $45 million buyout or 54. I've seen 45. So like I said, I've seen both numbers. So I don't know which one's accurate, but definitely 45.
I don't
Imagine
even.
getting fired. Imagine getting fired for being so bad at your job that you get paid that money.
Man, the only thing I could think of is Jeff. We are in the wrong line of work, my friend.
Always. We're always in
I
the wrong line of
mean,
work when it comes to it. We can't be a quarterback, can't be a ball player. I don't know. Maybe you could become a coach, but anyway, yeah.
maybe.
So that's where we stand with that. Indiana, like I said, took out Oregon, so that's a big one. Ohio State, ranked number one. They are very good. I hate that team as well. You know that. They're that good. They could go back to back this year. I
Yeah.
think Indiana does play Ohio State. I think in the regular season, so that'll be close. But USC needs to win this game against Notre Dame. Best case scenario, they can go, lose have two losses, and maybe sneak in out of the Big Ten. But the Big Ten's got some really good teams. Like I said, Oregon is still there. Ohio State, Indiana, all those teams should make it in theory. Obviously, the SEC is really deep too, but they have some faltering too. So
Big week for those Trojans.
yep. So we'll have to see. We'll see what happens. It's a night game, so hopefully it doesn't do anything stupid like snow or rain.
Yeah, let's hope we don't get any snow yet. My God.
No, you never know though. But next topic, the Blackhawks. Hockey started always just this is more my bread and butter when it comes to it, but they're 0-3 to start. You might be like, oh shit, we're firing the people already. No, this isn't the New York Jets. We don't have to worry about firing anyone yet. They have a new coach. He's super competitive. I've kind of liked what I've seen out of the team. This is still a transition year. We're not talking playoffs yet. We're seeing what we got. Bedard, he's flashing moments. I think he's gotten a point in every game. Frank Nazar, he's been awesome. If you watched any of the, Team USA junior team, he was one of the leaders on that team. He scored a ton of points that entire series, and he came up last year, was another stud that came up. So it's, a lot of these games have been super close. I think we're still, pretty young, and especially on the defensive side where it's one of our strengths. But time will tell. At least we're not getting blown out, but still need to add to the team.
You know what? We've mentioned this before, but Chicago sports was the best run that any of these Chicago major sports teams have had since we've been alive was the Blackhawks, and it was for someone who was not a huge hockey guy. It was fun every now and then putting on a game, and it's like we're expected to win, and we had that
Yeah,
great run. It was three championships in 6 or 7 years.
6 years. Yeah,
Yeah,
3 and 6.
I mean that's a dynasty right there. And then when you do something like that, it just like we were already a big franchise and all that, but you win that many times, and people still talk about that, and they're going to talk about that until we're dead and gone, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you need to get. I mean, they need to get back to it because Chicago is such a better place too when the
Yeah,
Blackhawks are good. And when you mentioned it too, you turned on a game. It didn't matter what the score was during that time. You knew that there was times those teams they knew that they were going to win. I've gone to so many those Blackhawks conventions and listened to the conferences, and the team just knew that they were better and they could just turn it on like that and knew what they can get out of each player individually on any given night. That they could just kind of sleepwalk into the playoffs and do damage essentially. And yeah, those teams were just so good, and Chicago's, like I said, just a better place. Like there's nothing better than watching a hockey game at a bar, and the Hawks score in the playoffs, and everyone's getting covered in beer.
so what are we thinking for the Hawks? Are we thinking not this year? Are we thinking next year? Are we thinking the year after? What's the plan here?
So it depends on how some of these guys develop. I know the guy we drafted last year, Lestonov. I'm gonna butcher his name as I butcher everyone's names. He's kind of looked kind of bad this year so far. Looks out of position so far. We need to see what he can do. He might need to get sent down to Rockford. Oliver Moore, he was the guy we drafted 2 years ago. He's tearing up Rockford right now, and it's only been a couple games. I wouldn't be shocked if we see him make kind of a early jump, kind of like Frank Nazar did last year. That would be huge. That'd be a great thing. The defense, like I said, should be pretty good going forward. Spencer Knighton's in goal, so you have a goalie. We're gonna have to see. It's only 3 games in, so it's hard to judge. But to answer your question, I don't. We're still gonna be ticking probably in the top 5 this year, unless something dramatic happens and we have a couple of guys
Sure.
emerge. But still, we'll be picking in the top 5, if not worse. I don't know how you get worse than top 5, but still, you get the point. If we can get this Gavin McKenna guy, who I don't know if you saw like his little headline a couple months ago. I think it was in between the All-Star break. He like signed with like Penn State, and it was like a big deal because just NIL money just goes nuts. But he signed like a pretty lucrative deal with them. He's going to go to the NHL next year. And he's that good. So if the Hawks can somehow land him, one of these ping pong balls ends up in their favor, they're going to be so good. But I'm thinking 2027 would be, and we need to start landing some big fish too. So 2027, 2028 maybe. But definitely 27 will be a lot more of a competitive team because I think we'll have a couple years under the belt with some of these guys. Hopefully that means Bedard is that guy. I still think we need another additional piece on top of Bedard, though, to really get into that.
All right, well, you heard it here first. We got the prediction, 2027, 2028.
Yeah, we'll rock. And then it's playoffs or bust. There won't be any more, oh well, we need a new coach. We need this. No, that's you
Right.
load up and you shut up. We have all these picks. They almost have they've almost had as many picks as like the Oklahoma City Thunder have had. Maybe not as longevity wise, but they've had 3 or 4 first round picks in the last couple of years. A lot of these guys are coming up now too, which is really fun and it's exciting to see. So stay tuned. If you can watch them, definitely do it. Get to the stadium and let's just see what we can do to hopefully move forward. That being said, do you want to talk ALDS or NLDS first?
Let's not rip the Band-Aid off just yet. Let's do the
Perfect.
American thing
Perfect.
first.
Let's start the ALDS then. What a fun ALDS.
Great series.
Blue Jays took out the Yankees 3-1. The Blue Jays first 2 of those games just blew the doors off. We talked about that last week. Yankees stole one against them, and then just game 4? It was lights out. I think they did a bullpen game.
Yeah, the Yankees, man, they did not look good in that series. Toronto came to life. We saw a rookie, Trey Savage, who I had to trade in one league this year. Man, I did not want to move him. And then you see what he did. And now
I
I'm
know.
really thinking I shouldn't have moved this kid. But you could see why Toronto is a good team. It's unfortunate that Bo is still not back for them. I don't even know if they make it to the World Series. I don't even know if he's going to be playing in any of those games. But uh, yeah, Toronto, they beat the brakes off the Yankees. Off the bats came alive. I mean, Varsho had big games. You're getting playoff George is getting some hits. Vladdy Guerrero Jr. My goodness, the guy was hitting. I don't know if it was 4, 5, 600. Ernie
Yeah.
Clement. Ernie Clement, I think it was hitting like 600.
Who?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't
We
know
know
who
him because we play fantasy baseball. We know who he is. At least I hope you do.
I know
He
who
was
he is, but I didn't know who he was at the start of the year, and I learned about him, and I'm like, yeah, this guy's having a nice year, but he's having maybe the best postseason of any Toronto Blue Jay. I mean, Guerrero's having a great postseason. I know he's
the
got
one.
at least 3 homers, but I know Varsho's had like a 4-hit game, a couple of homers, but Clement just every time he's up, it's like this guy's getting another hit.
Yeah, Clement, and then the other guy, Luke's, whatever his name is, too. He had a
Luke,
really dominant series too. Um,
Luke's.
you know, Nathan Luke's. Yep, that's what I was leaning with it. But yeah, Nathan Luke's looked good. Miles Straw, if you remember him when he was with Cleveland, he came up and was big during that last game too. So they're a fun team to watch. We'll jump into the ALCS after we break down the Mariners Tiger series as well. But yeah, Blue Jays really took it to their division rival, so that was really nice to see. I think everybody just was happy to see the Yankees lose. Yeah, Mariners and Tigers, back and forth series up until game 5, and what a game that was. Hopefully you got to catch some of it. 15 innings, back and forth, and the Mariners closed out 3-2.
Yeah, so the woman and I were actually watching a lot of that 15-inning game before I forget what day that was. I think she had to go back home or
Saturday or
whatever.
Friday? Oh, I think it was Friday.
I think it was Friday. Yeah, she had to go back home. I had to get up for work the next day. But I was when we were watching that game, it's going into extras. Or watched a few of the extra inning games or a few of the extra innings. I was falling asleep towards the end of that game, and I didn't even catch the exact end of it, but I caught almost the whole game. Um, that series was a hell of a series. 3 out of the 5 games in that series ended in a 3-2 score. Very well pitched series. There were, as there tends to be, there's 1 or 2 games sometimes that are a little more lopsided, more runs are scored, but 3-2 in 3 of those games. Scooble, you gotta mention Scooble with how well that guy pitched. I mean, there's only so much he could do. Detroit's bats didn't do a ton. Kerry Carpenter's becoming that guy over there. I don't know how much Riley Greene
Incredible.
did, but Kerry Carpenter's got to be the biggest bat in that lineup. Detroit's a good team. They just kind of petered out towards the end of the year, as we know. They had that bad losing streak. They lost the division to Cleveland. And I think the big thing that really cooked them was losing some of their starting pitchers towards the end of the year. And you had Scooble, and then you just had a bunch of other guys that were good. But at some point, you start leaking oil, and you can't repair it. So hell of a series, though, both of them.
Yeah, it was incredible. That was fun to watch. I'm glad that we get 2 teams in the Mariners and Blue Jays that we
Yeah,
get to see a new team that hasn't been in it in the World Series or made it to the World Series in a long time. I
right.
know Toronto won one, I think in the early 90s or something, or maybe it was the 80s. It's nice to see them back in there. And also, they could do the funniest thing by winning the World Series just in the climate that we're in the world. I think it'd be hilarious.
That would be something for Canada. But yeah, you know what? I mean, I think you're kind of right there with me. These are 2 teams that we've mentioned, Blue Jays and the Mariners, that have been fighting to get in the last couple of years. They've been missing it by a game or two, and they both get in, and now they both look pretty good. And then we're, after game one last night, we're in stores for a hell of a series, it looks like.
Yeah, and you would think too after coming off 15 innings that there would be a little jet lag. No, sir. Seattle came out and just punched them right in the mouth. They fought back. Bryce Miller, 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run. They won 3-1. We had our guy Kyle Raleigh, the big dumper. Hit that home run, put him ahead. Can't ask for much more out of him.
No, and
Even Gosman
that's
pitched pretty well, but
he did. He did. Both starters pitched well. I felt like maybe Schneider went to get Gosman a little early in that game. I mean, he gave up the game tying homer, and then you gave up another hit or a walk or something after that. But he pitched great. His pitch count was not that high. I felt like he could have went a little bit longer. Felt like Bryce Miller could have went a little longer too. He pitched a hell of a game though, and that's the one thing for me that I've harped on this pod for the entire year is Seattle's starting pitching. Bryce Miller's
yeah,
been hurt for half or most of the year, and when he was pitching this year, did not pitch well. Pitched to at least a 4 or 5 ERA in the regular season. But we all know how good that kid is, right? He's still very young.
yeah.
Last year, I mean, you know how good he was. I think you win with them last year. I mean, the kid was
I did win.
unbelievable for
Yeah,
them
I went
last
back to
year,
back because of
and
him down the stretch last year.
and I don't know about you, but I mean, you've got 4 or 5 guys you could make the argument are the best guy in that rotation. For me, I feel still it's Bryce Miller. I think that kid with his stuff, Brian Wu, I love. I was trying to get Brian Wu in this one league, the other league I'm in. Kid didn't really set his lineup much throughout the year. Whoever he is, I still don't know yet. I want to wring you by your neck because I tried to get Brian Wu for like 6 fucking months. That's the third expletive we have, by the way, for this pod. We're going off the rails apparently, but you got those two. The wily veteran in Castillo probably isn't the true number one anymore, but he's still pretty darn good. Kirby and Gilbert are both great. This is where Seattle is at their strength. We've all known it for the last couple of years.
Oh yeah,
When you're going to get this from Bryce Miller with what he did this year, if they can get Brian Wu back, this is the team. I like Toronto a lot. Seattle's my pick. If
yeah,
they can get there to face the Dodgers, we're going to get to that series in a second. But I think you already know who
yeah.
my pick is to get there out of that other series. that
Yeah.
is the team that could maybe beat the Dodgers with all the horses they have.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. It's going to come down to the pitching and starting pitching. I think honestly, you have to give the edge to Seattle just because of what they have on the table already. You just named all four of them. They have four workhorses that I mean, you could argue they have five too at times,
Kid went
but
six
yeah,
innings. He
they'll go.
missed most of the year. He went 6 innings in a day and age where we're seeing guys start for an inning, get 5, 6 outs. He went 6 innings. He was efficient.
Right, hey, I can't talk. I always laugh too because some of those other series you didn't even see these pitchers even go more than 2 innings. Like, I mean, even going back to the San Diego series, we'll jump into that in a minute. But I'm an old school guy when it comes to it. I prefer my pitchers going 6, 7 innings.
Oh,
I'm fortunate enough that at least like one thing the 2005 White Sox will always get remembered for is they're going to be the last team that had what was it, 3 or 4 consecutive complete games out of their starting pitchers. It was insane. You'll never see that again
no.
because now you have everyone gets so cute with the analytics where it's like, oh, okay, you got Tatis, you got Machado, and you got whoever else on San Diego going up. Okay, let me throw my closer at them. Oh, they're done. That's it. See you later. It's stupid. Just
You know,
give me my workhorse ace who doesn't want to get off the mound like Max Scherzer. Give me the fucking ball. Like that's what I like out of him. I don't like this like back and forth BS.
and baseball tends to sometimes revert back to what they did a little bit in the past. Hopefully, we start getting more Paul Skeens, Tarek Skubal like guys. Hopefully, we get some more old school minded managers that let these guys go a little bit deeper. This is the best time of the year. I mean, people
Yep.
on these panels were saying that Skubal was going to, the pitch count. They said throw that out. He threw about 100 pitches in that game 5. I thought he was going to go a little bit more. I thought you might see him
Yeah.
go. And then they had something up the other day about how many pitches have been thrown, like the most pitches that are thrown in like a playoff game. There are guys that have gotten almost up to about 150. It's unbelievable.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you go back far enough, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, you have to give the edge to Seattle when it comes to their pitching staff. They have 5 pitchers because I forgot about George Kirby in my head. But yeah, with Brian Wu being on the roster, they have 5. I don't
It's
know if
unbelievable.
Seattle or I don't think Toronto can keep up with them. They need to win tonight. Game 2's tonight. It's going to be your boy Savage and Logan Gilbert. So if Gilbert goes out and shoves, it's gonna be a tight one for Toronto to try to come back. So
I think
fun
that
series
pitching
though.
matchup could be. I think that could be a whale of a matchup too. Gilbert is nasty, and this Savage. People have barely seen him. He's throwing the ball from the heavens up here, and I mean he's been great. So that game tonight's going to be great.
Yep, absolutely. And let's move into the NLDS. Let's start with the Dodgers Phillies. I think we all
Heartbreaker.
know Dodgers. Yeah, I was gonna say Dodgers had it pretty in hand into Game 4. Kirkering committed that soul-crushing error in the 11th inning. Overthrew
Orion.
the. Yeah, he just completely like his brain just like short circuited and he launched it over over Riamuto on that last one. So it's tough. I mean, realistically, it shouldn't have come down to that, but you think about you feel for that young kid too because now it's like that's what everyone hates him because of that. But it's like win the game. I mean, don't let it come down to something stupid like that. But Otani went off and pitched his tail off. Dodgers are a tough team.
This is kind of like their time of year, right? The last few years we've seen. I mean, they just know how to win their division every year. They know how to get to the playoffs. They know how to win series. It's
Yeah.
very annoying. They've become the Yankees when they had Jeter and they won, I think, 5 times with Jeter. I mean, it's become that type of evil empire over there. But it's even to like a bigger degree with the time that we're in with these guys making all this money and it. You look at this team and you say, who the hell's going to beat the Dodgers when they've got Snell healthy? Glasnow's giving them some innings. You've got Yamamoto who's pitching great. Um, I probably am blanking on another guy or two right now, but they've got the team to do it. We know that. Man, Phillies though they just could not muster up a whole lot of anything in that series against the Dodgers. They had a couple homers. I know Schwarber had that one game where he hit 2 homers. Other than that, I don't think he did a ton. I don't know how much Harper
Right.
did, and Harper's had some big moments the last few postseasons. I think he was fairly cold. Um,
Yeah.
your stars have to star, right? And I don't know if Philly's stars shined as bright as they should have or could have. And I think that probably
No.
is what happened.
Yeah, and I think overall just the bullpen depth kind of got to him, and then just the youth got
Their
exposed at the
starting
worst
pitching,
time.
their starting pitching was great too. Christopher
Right.
Sanchez was great. Ranger
Right.
Suarez. I mean, Luzardo pitched great, and then he came out of relief in one
Yeah.
of those games. I mean, their pitching was great. You just couldn't score off their pitching. Gotcha.
No, and that's always been the issue. And then that's it for Schwarber. He's going to go to free agency. Who signs him? I know he wants to stay with the Phillies, but I mean the Phillies kind of are like at that team where they had their run to the
Yeah.
World Series. They didn't finish it when they should have, and that's going to hurt them for the next couple of years because the contracts are up. Some of these guys are getting older. How many more do you have left out of Harper? And I mean Harper's still young, but at the high level that they're playing at. So we'll see. We'll see what the Phillies end up doing this offseason. That error is brutal, but I mean, it's what happens when you punish these young arms for big moments that they just haven't been in. So should we go rip the Band-Aid off finally?
There's no more avoiding it, I guess. You want me to start?
Brewers take out the Cubs,
You go.
3-2. Yeah, I got you. Milwaukee tied the. Milwaukee won the first two games pretty decidedly in Milwaukee. Cubs come home, reverse it right back at them. Wrigley was rocking. The Cubs came out and basically put it to the Brewers like I haven't seen them do in a long time. Came down to the deciding Game 5 in Milwaukee. Jacob Misiorowski, as we know, he's a dominant pitcher, and it was kind of shown. Had the 4 innings, 1 run. He gave up that home run. I was like, oh shit, here we go. And then all of a sudden, the Brewers just really just fought back and just, Cubs hitting. They went cold at the wrong time. They can't blame the atmosphere. I think some of the stars like PCA, I think he made a lot of silly mistakes. I mean, I did have to laugh though, because one of my biggest breaking TikTok videos that I put out was when PCA was like beating the hell out of the dugout. Got over like 111,000 views, which is awesome. So thanks everybody out there who contributed to that. But PCA just wasn't the same guy in the second half of that season. And I'm trying to pull out the stats too for the second half, but he completely fell off. Kyle Tucker had one good month out of the entire year. Maybe he had a decent end of September. He's definitely. I mean, he's gone. It's pretty clear. Cubs fans don't want him. I don't think he wants to be
I'm
here.
sure we want him.
Yeah.
I'm sure we want him. I would love to have him back. I don't know if we're going to pay him, and I don't know if we would have paid him if he had his usual Kyle Tucker season either. I think that his dollars and cents is probably going to get hurt a little bit by this season he had, and I know he was playing through an injury. It came out, and that's why he wasn't performing the way he was for maybe 2 months out of the season. Then he hits the IL for a week or two. Then he came back, got a couple hits. Then he got hurt again. So he had a tough year. I don't want to put that on anybody. People get injured. He's been pretty healthy, it seems like, the most throughout his career. But yeah, it's unfortunate that it looks like it's probably only going to be his lone year in Chicago, and it's going to end up going down as potentially his worst offensive season. And he got off to a great start. And he got off to such a good start, and we're like, the team got off to such a good start, and we're like, okay, like we're good. We have a real chance this year, and we did. We fought the whole year.
You still did.
We got a little cold towards the second, right after the All-Star break. We got a little cold right before the break, but Milwaukee, they just went on a great run this year. They started the first couple games of the season. They got their asses kicked by the Yankees. They rebounded well. Obviously, that was the first couple games. The Brewers are a good team. They're not that good. This isn't me being spiteful. This isn't me trying to be sour. They're not that good. I'm sorry. And I know that they had, they had the most wins in baseball this year. That's because they had 2 winning streaks of 10 to 15 games, and I don't think anyone else did that this year. So that's how you win almost 100 games. They're analytical. Their offense isn't that good. They don't score a ton of runs. They have their moments where they score, but they don't have a ton of big names in that lineup. And if Yelich doesn't do anything, and if Churio's hamstring doesn't hold up in this next series, you're looking at a lineup where you're going out there pitching against Sal Frelick and Bryce Terang, who I think is a little overrated for right now. Yeah, he had a good year, whatever. Bryce, we'll see you next year. But I just don't think they're that good. They do a lot with a little. They're very analytical. I think their payroll was 95 million this year, so you got to tip your cap to them. They do more with
Yeah.
what seems like very little, and yeah, good. Kudos to them. I see this next series going about 5 games, so we'll see if they can win one.
Yeah. Yeah. One note too, like I said, I was going to look it up. PCA from the second half, from the MVP that he was to the 4A player that he fell down to. He was batting 216, 47 hits, 6 home runs, 24 RBIs, and 24 runs scored. After going what did he go, 30 for 30 or something in the first half, or 20? He was the first
You
2020 player at 23.
It was looking like he could be a guy that could, I mean, 30-30 was like, oh, he'll get there, no doubt, but it was looking like he could do 40-40, 50-50. I just wanted to see him steal some
Yeah.
more bags because he's so freaking fast. Get the guy on. Stop
Yes.
swinging for a home run all the time. I'll say this before we close out on the Cubs. The outlook on next year is, to me, even maybe a little bit higher. I don't know if we're going to retain Tucker,
That
but
was going to be my next.
this Owen Cassie kid looks like he might be pretty good.
Yep.
Saya's coming off of a career year. We also have Justin Steele coming back next year, who we desperately needed. And our pitching was still really freaking good without him. And Cade Horton, a full year in the big leagues with him. If Shota can figure out his home run woes, and we still have JMO, we've got a really solid rotation. The bullpen, we figured some things out. Craig makes his money figuring out bullpens. He figured some things out with our guys down there. At the beginning of the year, the bullpen was not great. By the end of the year, the bullpen was one of the better ones in the league. So, you know what? We figured some things out. Michael Bush, hell of a year for you, kid. Keep going next year. Dansby had a decent year. Defensively, he's a Gold Glover every year. He had 20 to 25 homers this year. Our catchers hit well. Carson Kelly had a great year. So, yeah, we had a good year. Fell a little short. I felt like this was a good time to beat Milwaukee, too. I know they had a great year, but he didn't have Brandon Woodruff pitching, which I thought was a big negative for them. And then Mizorowski, they chose to not start the kid. I don't know. I don't think he started any games, right? He came in relief, right?
Yeah, he came in relief and ended up just shoving in that game 5.
I know he gave him some innings, but yeah.
So bitter. I love it. My one note was just going to be, what do we see out of next year's team? I looked up their contracts. It's going to look a lot the same. I mean, Michael Bush was on like a 1-year deal or so, and it was an approve-it deal. He's I can see the Cubs re-signing him because he was such a good player. Or he might be under contract again for this year too. But like as far as I looked, it seems like that. But I mean, most of these guys are signed until 2027. So what you see is what you got. Maybe add an arm or two, a back end arm to make sure you can kind of have that rotation. And I think that was always just going to be the the falling point of the Cubs was if they're hit, if their pitching could hold up. It really didn't near the end of it. Yeah, Matthew Boyd went off and pitched his tail off in game 4 for the Cubs. I think it was game 4. He did awesome. Bounced back after that game 1 blunder. But, I think it was just they didn't have enough arms to go, fight up against a team that got hit a bye week. And that was, that was tough, tough to do. So, yeah, team's going to look a little bit different next year when it comes to Owen Cassie. But, I mean, it is still the Cubs. They're still going to probably try to get a big fish in there somehow. But it depends. They don't really spend like they used to. So, we'll see. Now, moving into the Brewers-Dodgers series, that kicks off tonight. Brewers actually swept the series against the Dodgers this year, so we'll see what ends up happening. I'm not thinking it's going to be a sweep. It'll probably go 7 games just because the Brewers are a gritty team. Like you said, they're very analytical. That's what sends them into these games. They go off, and, we'll see. I know you don't want them to win.
I don't want either team to win. Unfortunately, one team has to win. But I am a little.
Go Seattle.
That's who I'm rooting for, to be honest with you. And if Toronto wins, go Toronto. But
I'm cool with any of the teams. I'd like to see obviously like a Brewers Seattle or even a Toronto Brewers series. I think that'd be fun, just because it's different. Just to switch it up a little bit.
I'll give Milwaukee 1 game. Dodgers in 5.
Yeah, that's fair.
What is
Dodgers in 5? You heard it here
Shannon
first.
Sharp usually say or whatever? Lakers in 5. Right? Dodgers in 5.
Dodgers in 5. Ridiculous. All right, let's jump into we're gonna run through the NFL really quickly, just for time purposes. So let's lead us off.
All right, quickly here. This is the fastest 2 minutes. We always start on Thursday night. G-Men go if Scatterbo skips sachets and skedaddles thrice into the end zone. G-Men 34, Philly 17.
That was a word salad.
Thank you. Hey, Jeff, does Jets stand for Jeff Everything There Sucks? Denver 13, Jets 11.
Well done. Well done.
2 touchdowns for each quarterback, but 3 field goals the difference for Seattle. Seahawks 20, Jacksonville 12. Chargers 2-point victory over Dolphins. Vital. See what I did there? To stay atop AFC West. Chargers 29, Dolphins 27. 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, more than enough. And hang on. Technical difficulties here. We handwrite these notes, so sometimes they get a little smudgy here. In grueling, there it is. We'll start that over. 2 touchdowns in quarter 3, more than enough in grueling win over Baltimore. Rams 17, Ravens 3. Indy and JT combined for 4 touchdowns to go to 5-1. Indy 31, Arizona 27. Rico runs rampant again. Panthers 37 though. Dallas 20. I'm sorry. Panthers 30, Dallas 27. May leads Pats to 4th win over Saints. New England 25, Saints 19. I don't know if I'm saying this name right, but we're going to try here. Sismit did all he could do. Pittsburgh 23, Cleveland 9. Gino Genti don't have to do much to beat the Titans. Raiders 20, Tennessee 10. 2 picks from Mac. 2 mistakes too many. Tampa Bay 30, San Francisco 19. 2 more touchdowns for Jacobs. Seal the deal for Pack. Green Bay 27, Cincinnati 18. Mahomes might be back. 3 touchdowns, 257 yards. Kansas City 30, Detroit 17. And we've got the 2 games tonight, a double feature, if you will. Bills Mafia at the Falcons.
Twofer.
It's a twofer. 6:15 tonight, and we've got, of course, the Bears at the Commanders 7:15.
Well done. As always, we jump into like the Thursday quick recap on that. Obviously, I was shocked to see. I think Philly had like a 7-point favorite, which was insane, and they got the doors blown off of them. It wasn't close at all. Scatterboo just shoved it down their throat. I mean, that's to be expected. Jackson Dart does play with the game on the line. Essentially, every single play he comes out there and just shoves it. I like that out of a quarterback. It's nice to see. I wish the Jets would have got him personally, because he's excellent. And Scatterboo just kind of carried Arizona State. I know you don't watch much college football, but he did that for Arizona State. He was getting 200 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns almost every week. So Philly, the Eagles are getting exposed. Jalen Hurts once again is falling apart. A couple years ago, they had, when they went to the Super Bowl, they had that really dominant. I mean, they won last year, but the year before that, they had the dominant defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator, and it came into the last year. Kellen Moore, got himself a job out of it, and then Vic Fangio on the defensive end kept it pretty locked in, and that defense was still really good. It's just the Giants came out and they're a different team this year, and they're pretty much saving Brian Daboll's job by doing this. So, Hurts not featuring the passing game at all. Devontae Smith, did a little bit more than A.J. Brown, but they just can't put it together. And the running game doesn't look good either. Barkley did virtually nothing.
Yeah, this game. I had to look up this score like 8 different times. Philly, for whatever reason, I think this is their second loss, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're 4-2 now.
Back to back. Yeah, back to
And
back
back to
losses.
back losses. And you know what? They lost a game or two early enough in the season last year. And you were saying Sirianni needs to go
Yeah.
and all this. And people were saying he's not the guy or whatever. Then they rattled off like 9 or 10 in a row, and then they win the Super Bowl. So we'll see if they have the same type of magical run in them again this year. But yeah, you look up and you see that Philly got doubled by the Giants, the lowly Giants. I still don't even know. I'm like in those cartoons where they go.
And they lost to the Saints.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and they lost to the Saints last week. So football's weird. Football, and this year I was thinking about it too. There's so many bad teams. Like Baltimore's terrible this year. Like so many teams just fell off the side, and it's
Cincinnati.
like you get, the really really good teams, and then Cincinnati with Burrow being out, they're terrible now, but they still have enough wins where it's like okay, what the hell happened, but. Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk on them too a little bit later, but let's talk about the non-magical game. Denver at New York in London. I think it was in London.
I think so.
I'm trying to blank it out of my memory. I'm just become numb to the Jets at this point. Like I know that they're gonna lose. I hate when they have big name games like this. People woke up early. Hey, we're gonna go watch the Jets, right? Well, that was a mistake. Lots of blunders. Negative 10 yards passing after 9 sacks on Justin Fields. I never was happy about Justin Fields. I've said it. I've posted it. I've said I wasn't excited about him. I don't think he was the guy. He was a bridge quarterback to help us get the first overall pick, and God knows whoever we're going to bring into this organization. We're getting into the territory where Aaron Glenn might realistically get fired. This is absolutely in the realm here. He had, at the half, you had a chance to run a 5-and-out and maybe get in the field goal range because Nick Folk can kick the hell out of the ball. Blunders it at the end of the first where you have a chance to go ahead. The Broncos aren't that good of a team. And then you blow that, okay, at halftime. Didn't even run a play. Let the clock run out. Pretty much did the same stupid thing at the end of the fourth quarter. What the hell are they doing there? Offense sucks. In the week that the special teams was actually good, they were the only reason we got any points on the damn board. And then the defense held them to 13 points. It's an NFL team. That's pretty good in my opinion. Yeah. That being said, I don't know. We're getting into the point of the season where it's going to get ugly really quick. I mean, they're a bad team. They really realistically might go 0-17. You're coming up into a stretch of games where let me read off the teams that they're playing. And if they go 0-3 in this stretch, it's going to be hard not to. Carolina at home. You go at to the Bengals, which is led by Joe Flacco, and then you play at home against Cleveland. If you lose those 3 games, Aaron Glenn will not be coming home.
He'll get fired. He won't be coming home. Yeah, and honestly, the Carolina game, that first one, Carolina's got 3 wins. So even them, it's like,
they've been a solid. They're a solid team, but it's still Carolina.
It's still Carolina. I'm not saying they're good. Jets 0-6, still the only defeated team. I like to use that term every now and then. But you've lost by 2 points in 3 different games this year, right? The first game of the season, that Steelers game, that was a hell of a game, but you lost. But by 2 points. Yep. Tampa Bay's 5-1. They're one of the best teams in the league right now. You lost to them by 2 points. Denver must be the Sean Payton effect, right? You lose to them by 2 points. You've had, and then you lost by 6 to Miami. So you've got 4 of your 6 games that were essentially one-score games, right? You can throw the Dallas 15 points and the 20 by Buffalo out the window. That's not the end of the world. 9 sacks allowed. You mentioned it. You can't have it. 7 punts. 2 of 15 on third downs. You mentioned the negative 10 passing yards. It doesn't get much worse than that. And I feel for Justin because, he was a Bear. He had to deal with the Chicago stuff in the media. And
this is part of him, though. This is him.
He's a good kid. He's just, unfortunately, he's not the best.
I've watched Zach Wilson experience. I've watched him get benched for freaking their third string quarterback. I don't even know his name. It was like Chris Streifer, whatever the hell his name. I've watched that. I've watched I've watched so many bad quarterbacks I can't even remember them all off because my brain's going to explode. I've watched so many bad QBs over the last 10 years with the Jets, and none of them have been as bad as. Oh, Tim Boyle was the other one I was thinking too. He
Oh,
got
there you
benched.
go.
Zach Wilson got benched for Tim Boyle last year, 2 years ago. It doesn't get much worse than that. Than what Justin Fields displayed this past weekend. He can't read a defense whatsoever. All of the points that the Jets have scored recently have been in garbage time. That's the only time he's decent. It's done. It's over. It's done with. People are talking about him getting benched for Tyrod because he can at least move the offense. Still not a good
Bench him
offense.
for
I don't know.
Tyrod, man. I
I'm
got
done with him.
Tyrod in my sleeper league, and I mean, I got McCarthy in that league this year. McCarthy's hurt. I need a fucking quarterback. I picked up Browning. They went out and got Flacco. I need a quarterback. So put Tyrod in the game. Have him throw 1 or 2 touchdowns, get me 10, 15 points instead of a fucking goose egg.
Yep, agreed. All right, enough with the Jets. We spent too much time on them. Our Cardinals without Kyler Murray put it down to the wire with the Colts. Brissett's a good QB. He's good enough to get the job done for a team. Threw for 320 yards, but Jonathan Taylor and Daniel Jones were just too much essentially for the Cardinals.
Yeah, you've got so Indy is also 5-1. They're at the top. They've got their next 4 games. They're at the Chargers. They got Tennessee at home. They are at Pittsburgh, and then they're home against Atlanta. So a couple of winnable games in there. Indiana's a playoff team, in my opinion. There's 7 games after that, really quickly. At KC, home against Houston, at Jacksonville, at Seattle, home against San Fran, and Jacksonville, and then at Houston. So you got a couple games in there towards the end,
Yeah,
that are going to be tough for them to win. These next 4 games, already getting off to a good start. You finish 7-3, 8-2, your first 10 games. They're in.
yeah. I mean, they're the best team in that division. But mentioning Jacksonville, they've had a good year. They
They
upset the
have.
Chiefs. It's always an upset whenever you beat the Chiefs. They look good.
They
We'll
do.
see. I mean, obviously they didn't win this weekend against Seattle. We'll touch on them in a little bit, but yeah, Indianapolis could win that division
I
very
think.
easily unless they have a dramatic fall off. We do have to bring this up. Did you see what happened to Anthony Richardson?
No.
He was using like an elastic band and
Uh-oh.
it snapped and hit him in the eye. He fractured his orbital.
Oh, no.
The
From
guy
one of
needs to be
those
put in a
workout?
bubble.
Oh, my God, dude. This
Yeah,
guy
from one of the bands. I guess it like snapped and fractured his eye.
messed up his shoulder. Now he's got a fucked up eye. This guy, I mean, it looks like AR's time in Indianapolis is coming to, pretty much an end because you get Indiana Jones over here now who's playing this well. His career's revived. So, yeah,
Yeah, does just enough. I mean, JT too. I mean, he came out and ran all over. He's been having a hot year too.
he has.
Moving into another team that seems to be kind of turning around, with the Chargers and Dolphins. Dolphins, McDaniel's getting fired at the end of this year, if it's not before that. Hey, kitty, kitty. Um, that was kind of funny, Mike McDaniel, and here, kitty, kitty.
Yeah.
All we can say, the Chargers winning 29-27. They did it without Hampton. Vital was really important for them. McConkey is just that X factor. Quentin Johnson was out this week, so we finally got to see McConkey go back off and do what he needed to do. So that was huge for them. Herbert just does enough, constantly week in without their offensive line, who has more holes than Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
Um, the cat is killing me. Yeah. Oh shit! But anyway,
She was taking a
that was a
nap
big
and now
win. That
she's
was a
up.
statement win. But yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's I guess it's how it goes. I mean, Tua kind of called out the team for like accountability. People just aren't showing up. I mean, we knew with the whole stuff with Tyreek Hill. Dolphins just aren't a good team, and that's they're just barely better than the Jets. We could say it that.
And like you said, there are some bad teams in the league. I mean, the Jets, you've got 3 games you've lost by 2. You got Tennessee's a bad team. The Saints, they won a game. They're a bad team. These
They
teams are
fired their
just as
coach
bad.
too.
Yeah, about time.
Yep. And then you move it. Yeah, and then you move into New England, Drake May, looking like a franchise QB. So good for them. Unfortunately, they get another one. Jets still haven't had one in 20 fucking years. Um, you know, they luck into it. They barely beat the Saints, which is kind of surprising. I
Yeah.
guess we can start questioning if they if Rattler is not the problem. I guess the question is to be had is like, is he the franchise QB? He's looked good at times. I don't know if that's enough to keep a job, but I'm sure they'll draft a QB early on just because they need to do something there. But, you know, hats off to the Patriots, I guess. Fuck them. Finding another QB.
That's another one. Real quick on the Saints, I think I mentioned that Kamara was going to be a bit of a bust this year. I don't know, depending on where he was drafted. I don't think he did anything this week. So you may have to go in maybe at the end of this
31
pod.
yards rushing.
You're going to have to go in and see what he's done on the year because I don't think he's done that much either.
No, he's that whole team has been pretty non-existent just because they don't have the ball long enough to do anything.
Yeah.
Moving into the next one, Cleveland at Pittsburgh. I think the streak continues. I think it's like 22 straight regular season games, and I don't know if it was only at Pittsburgh that they haven't lost, but Pittsburgh winning 23-9. Aaron Rodgers threw for I think 2 touchdowns. DK Metcalf looked good. Steelers defense is tremendous still. They're going to do well, probably win that division because Baltimore's so bad. Cincinnati's hurt. And then the Browns are the Browns. So we'll see when Shadur takes over.
Yeah, you had the Dylan Gabriel.
Cleveland. Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, I mean that was one of those games where you look at the schedule and you say, well, that's a win for Pittsburgh. So, Cleveland. What else can you say?
I just hope that they don't bench him, Dylan Gabriel, before week 8 because in Gridiron, I have 2 guys, Stafford and Darnold are going to be on bye when it comes down to it. So should be interesting to see what ends up happening with them. So Dallas at Carolina, Rico Dowdle revenge game, 200 all-purpose yards. He's so good. I think he might be the starter going forward. I know Chuba's a good running back at times too, but what he's doing is just unheard of. In our Gridiron League, he put up 50-something points this week just because he's tremendous.
He had 30 carries in the game.
Dallas just keeps falling apart. I know. They are running him into the ground. David Canales, man, between him and Bryce Young, I mean, it's nice that Bryce finally has Tet McMillan out there, too. That's huge. Good for him. Good for your fantasy team, too. I mean, if you want to look at, what do you have, 1 win, too, in that league? And not trashing you for once. This is the one time I'm giving you a free pass here. Your 1 win was against me, which is hilarious.
Yeah, and you know what? That win was that much sweeter.
Yeah, it should be. It should be because everyone has a target on my back. But yeah, Dallas falling apart. I mean, George Pickens just keeps producing with Dak, and Dak is, if they string wins together, you talk about him in an MVP conversation. I got my other pick later in the show here, but Dak's the only one keeping that team afloat.
So real quick, I forgot to mention this with Indy, but since you mentioned Dallas, that brought it back to me. I don't know if you look at points for how many points you've scored on the year. Do you know who's number 1?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I would have never guessed this.
Is it
the Indiana Colts? They've scored 194 points already on the year. Dallas is 3rd. If you can score, you're going to be in games.
Yeah, they're scoring
I know
a lot.
Their defense isn't great, but if you've got a guy in Dak who's, like you said, Pickens has been great for them. If they're able to score 27, 30 points a game, they're going to win some of those games.
Right. Exactly. So should be interesting. Dallas is going to be an up and down team. Obviously, that was a win that they needed. So we'll see what ends up happening. But Carolina pulled it out. Now another team, Sam Darnold keeps doing it and producing with his other new new weapon. Well, not new weapon, but newer weapon this year since he wasn't on the team last year is JSN. Man, the dude is just on fire. 162 yards receiving, huge reception for a touchdown. Running game was like non-existent for Seattle, but as good as Jacksonville has played this year, they looked like shit against that Seattle defense, and I think it's hats off to the Seattle defense this year too. That team is just put together very well, and Sam Darnold's put in a position to lead and succeed there. So good for him, the prince who was promised.
Yeah, and speaking of just like a random thought here, I was going through these games and I was looking at the teams' records at the end of them. Feels like half of the league is 4-2. Got a lot of solid looking teams.
Yeah,
Seattle and Jacksonville are both 4-2 now after this week. Um, both it was a pretty identical stat line for Trevor Lawrence and Darnold this week. I think they both had two touchdowns, both over
yeah,
2 to 250 yards. It just came down to Jason Myers kicking a couple of field goals. I didn't really catch much of this game, but
yeah.
you got to get the team into field goal range to try to get 3 points every now and then. It can't always be touchdowns. So Jacksonville's a good team, but like you said, Seattle is they could have something this year. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. Next game, not a lot to say here because just Baltimore's so bad, but Rams winning 17-3.
Ugly
Lamar
game.
Jackson, obviously he's out, so ugly, ugly game. It was really boring to watch. Kyron snuck one in. Derrick Henry really got it going near the end of the game in the second half. He had 122 yards on the ground. That was like the only benefit that they had there. But Stafford kind of was like all over the place. Puka got hurt, so that's obviously a big factor there. He's supposed to miss a couple weeks now, apparently with a sprained ankle.
Mm.
So we'll see what the state of the Rams is after this week, but. They got to win when they needed it. So and Baltimore just continues to fall. And at some point, you got to almost wonder: does Lamar even come back? If his injury is lingering, and it's like, what do you do going forward? Um,
Yeah,
yeah, we'll see.
Baltimore's in a pretty similar position last year with Cincinnati. I don't think Burrow got hurt last year, but Cincinnati got off of that terrible start, and then they won a
No,
bunch of games late, but they came up short at the end. Baltimore, like you said, they're 1-5 already. So he misses another week or two, you lose another game. There's no reason to come back. He'd have to win every game.
yep, exactly. Next game, Tennessee, which their head coach just got fired, so he'll find the offensive coordinator job again because he did it with the Bengals a couple years ago. But Vegas. I mean, this was another boring game in the afternoon slate, but
Yeah,
Genti, he did enough. He had 75 yards. He is so good, though. If you watch him play, and that line by no means is very good in Vegas, and obviously Geno Smith is having a terrible year. I think he's leading the league or second in the league with interceptions. It just shows
yeah.
how bad Tennessee is. And like I said, Cam Ward is, unfortunately getting left out to dry. We knew this was going to happen. Tennessee is that bad. So,
I mean, Cam Ward, I think he had more yards through the air than Geno did in this game. So that tells you something because Cam Ward doesn't have anybody to throw to over there on Tennessee. No offense to the Titans
no.
receivers. I'm not in the league, but he didn't have anybody to throw to over there. Geno, yeah, I felt like he had a decent game or two, and then I don't know. He's had a couple of really bad weeks. He's had multiple weeks already with 2 or 3 picks in him. He didn't even eclipse 200 yards passing in this game. Boring game. So Raiders, they were bound to win the game. Good for them.
Yeah, and then this game was a lot closer near the end just because of some garbage time. But Green Bay winning 27-18. Green Bay has kind of fallen off since that Week 1 win against
Detroit.
against the Lions, where they really shook them. But Josh Jacobs, he was all over the place this game too, and he kind of put all their points on the board. And this is a weird thing with like Jordan Love is I expect more out of him, and I didn't think of him as like a game manager. But it seems like he kind of moved into that role where he just does just enough to get him over the top. Josh Jacobs, though, workhorse back, 2 touchdowns, and then, he added 5 receptions for 57. And I think it's just, this always is what happens. It's like they feature Tucker Kraft, which is good. He got that 2 for 43 and a touchdown. But Matthew Golden had 3 for 86. He kind of had his emergence game. But, the Bengals defense kind of played them pretty tough totally down the stretch there, and Jamar Chase got fed near the end, and he was able to do that with Flacco. And I think for Flacco, hats off to Flacco for being, 41, 42 years old or however old he is. Coming into a system, traded pretty much early in the week from the Browns to get, go out and start over Browning, who was just terrible this entire year.
Yeah.
A couple years ago when Burrow got hurt, it was like, oh, okay, he kept him afloat until Burrow could potentially come back. But not the case this year. He came in, threw for 2 touchdowns, and just shows that Flacco can pretty much play anywhere. I'd expect him to be a little bit better this week too, with learning the playbook a little bit more and knowing what they do there in Cincinnati. But yeah, they got the loss and Packers won.
Green Bay was just the better team. They were going to win this game.
Absolutely. Without Burrow, the Bengals are just a putrid team. Next game in the afternoon slate was San Francisco and Tampa Bay. Really should have been a bigger game or bigger, closer game. But this just shows when I mentioned earlier too, the MVP candidate for this year, outside of Patrick Mahomes, because of the season he's having now, it's got to be Baker Mayfield. Look at what he brings to that team. If Tampa Bay can, keep it to 1 loss and get the bye this year, you have to talk about him in the MVP conversation.
He's been great. That team's been great. Their head coach, I think it's Bowles. He's been great ever since he took over a couple years ago. He's helped reshape Baker's career over there, and they've got some things over there. I mean, Baker's got a couple guys to throw to. He had, I think they had Chris Godwin. I don't know if they have many more, but obviously you got Mike Evans. You got
he's still there. All those guys are hurt. Yeah, I mean, Puka got hurt yesterday too.
They've got everybody. They've got my buddy Bucky Irving, who I think is hurt right now, but he's been pretty good. Their defense is good too. It's a very well-rounded team. I think people can sleep on Tampa Bay a little bit because you think of Philly and you think of San Fran if people are healthy or other teams in that matter. And Tampa Bay, man, the last couple of years they're there. They're making the playoffs. They're a good team. Like you mentioned it, 5-1. You win a few more games, he's going to be in that MVP talk.
He needs to be. He's been having threw for 256 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he's leading that team. So good for Baker. Likeable guy. He has that swagger that I like. Out of a quarterback, wish I could have him. So Mac Jones did everything he could. 2 interceptions with very minimal weapons around him. It's CMC and that's it. But Jake Tongs has been, I think I'm saying, or Tongues or whatever his name is, he was solid filling in for Kittle. I think Kittle comes back this week or the next week after that. I don't know if they're on a bye coming up, but San Francisco needs to get healthy. And same with Tampa Bay, man. Both those teams are like the Chicago White Sox when it comes to these hamstring injuries.
The only good thing for San Fran, though, they're another 4-2 team. It's not like they're 2-4 and they got to get healthy and win a bunch. You're still over 500. They're in a good spot. They get healthy. They're a scary team.
Yep, absolutely agree. That last game, obviously Detroit at Kansas City. It's tough to win when Taylor Swift and Caitlin Clark are in the house. Kansas City just took it to the Lions last night, 30-17. It was close at half, and then all of a sudden that second half, Patrick Mahomes is showing why he's that dude and why the Chiefs are always that team. And here's the thing: is their record. They've been playing against good teams. They play against Buffalo, they play against Baltimore. When so their record is not accurate to how good they actually are. I know they lost to the Chargers week 1. Eagles, that's a good team. Yeah. They came out and beat the Giants, beat the Ravens. Lost to Jacksonville last week, and this might be just like what we see out of the Chiefs, that we're not going to see that 1 or 2 loss team out of them, but they're still going to win the division unless the Chargers somehow get healthy at the right time. It's the Mahomes Reed effect, man, and Kelsey. If you think Kelsey's going to go out without a fight, that's another thing. But yeah, well, I mean, Detroit, they had a little scuffle at the end of that. Did you see Brian Branch avoided a handshake from Patrick Mahomes, and then he went over and shoved Juju?
I did not see this.
Yeah, little scuffle at the end of the game. Brian Branch, that's not good football, not good for what people watching want to see. So we'll see what ends up happening going forward with the Lions. Still, that's the team to beat. But moving into tonight's game, it's kind of a do or die. Like I said, I think going into the bye week last week for the Bears, um, you need to win against the Commanders if you want to have a shot. And what needs to happen besides their defense? My hair's all over the place. Um, Besides the defense looking like it's got a whole bunch of holes, they need to really limit Jaden Daniels tonight, and Caleb needs to be incredible. And I think they need to just continue to emerge.
You know what needs to happen, Jeffrey? Caleb needs to show why the Bears said we're taking you number one and not Jaden Daniels, and when he went number
Yeah,
two. That's what needs to happen. We need to have a big game from Caleb. I want to see 350. I want to see
yeah,
his first 400-yard game tonight. I want to see 450 and 5 tutties. That's what I want.
that'd be sweet.
So,
I'm rooting for that too. You know, obviously being from Chicago, I like to troll the Bears fans just because some of them are so there's a bunch of meatballs, and it's just the way that it's Chicago in general. It's just like obviously the Sox fans can be like it too, but I mean, just side note, after we talked on the Bears, I got to talk one more thing on the Cubs, and I'm gonna just laugh at it real quick. But like you said, Caleb, you need to go off tonight. You need to do it. You need to prove that you're the number one overall pick, and let's get our revenge on the Commanders from that last year's blunder and kind of prove why you were taken number one. Moving into the Cubs real quickly, I just have to laugh at the troll job that the Brewers did. Their social media took a picture of the when everyone goes onto the field after they take their like DS picture and whatnot. They held up a big L flag. Did you see that?
no, I don't think I saw the L flag. Milwaukee, all I'm going to say is you better watch yourself. We're going to be back next year. You guys had, a long winning streak. You better watch yourself. We're going to be back healthier next year. We're going to be better. If King Tuck decides he wants to stay on the north side for another year, you guys are going to be in trouble. So,
Yeah, I said to laugh because of the troll job and just and this is the funny thing that I always like to laugh at with certain Cubs fans, and luckily you're not really included in this, and quite a few others aren't, and this isn't a majority, but it's so funny because they're always asking, well, why won't you root for the Cubs? It's a Chicago team. Because there's an inner city rivalry. It's like the same in the Mets and the Yankees. They don't like each other. Yeah, I would say if there was any Angels fans, I don't see them rooting for the Dodgers. And obviously division rival with the Padres and Dodgers, that's different. They obviously have to hate each other, but it's like one of those things. It's like why people ask all the time, well, why don't you? It's like because of how it is. And then my favorite is like, God forbid, they could sit there. Cubs fans can do this whole thing where they make fun of the attendance for the Sox. They can do this, they can do that, right? Play the little brother game of it, and but when Sox fans don't root for the Cubs or do that, it's like, well, why won't you root for us? It's like, okay, come on, like everything you guys do, but God forbid we don't root for you. It's like, oh, you're against Chicago. It's like, yeah.
yeah, it's not like that in our family. We are, you root for one and you really don't root for the other one. So that's the way it should be, though. You mentioned the Mets
Right,
and the
and that's how it
Yankees. It's the
should be.
same
And
thing.
I like it.
So,
And I'm just tired of the fans. Like, people will say it's not a rivalry, but it is. Like, growing up, it was always a rivalry. There was
oh,
always
yeah.
that, like, and maybe it's just our family, just how it was. But, like, growing up in the 90s with it, the Sox and the Cubs hated each other. Like, those games were, like, you know, very big. At least I remember it being like a big deal. And now, like, I don't know, ever since like the Cubs won the World Series, it was like, well, why are you, fans get like to play this. Well, why are always in your head? It's like, no, it's because of it's a rivalry. It's a city rivalry. Maybe it's not a division one like the Dodgers or Cardinals or Brewers, but that's my little rant to end it. It's just I'm tired of the soft fans just hate each other. Just like, in a civil way, hate each other. Hate the teams. Like, that's it.
You got to love those
I don't need the
Michael.
pleasantries. If the Sox are in the playoffs, root against me.
You got to love those Michael Barrett moments.
Yeah, like AJ Pierzynski punching him, or AJ Pierzynski barreling through. Like that's a huge moment for the rivalry, but it's not a rivalry. Like, okay,
Yeah. Oh, it's a rivalry.
yeah, win one World Series, and then these fans become soft. It's so funny. But anyway, that's the show. Any closing comments, Dan?
Cubs will be back next year. Bears, we got the Peanuts sweatshirt on. So let's
I
go out
like
there and
it.
win tonight.
Yep, go Bears. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Do 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 do. All right, that's it.